Kessler, which is a scientist, they have suggested by the 1935 these two terms they are divided two words, namely as a ecos means environment, ecos means environment, and the system which is referred as a complex of the coordinated units. They are collectively with each other to form the ecosystem. Second point is the structure of the ecosystem. In the structure of the ecosystem, the second point is the structure of ecosystem. In the ecosystem, there are two factors are present. First is the abiotic factor, second is the biotic factors. Next point is the abiotic factors and biotic factors, which are divided into three types. First is the producers, consumers, and the decomposers. The consumers generally they are again divided into the three types: primary consumers, secondary consumers, and the tertiary consumers. Primary consumers, which is commonly called as the only herbivores are present. Secondary consumers, primary carnivores are present, and the tertiary consumers, secondary carnivores are present. These are the structure of the ecosystem. In the structure of ecosystems, it is formed by the two components are present, mainly abiotic factors and the biotic factors. Abiotic factors mean in the ecosystem they have included, it is commonly called as the non-living substances present into the environment. For example, the water, soil, air, light, temperature, minerals, climate, pressure, etc. These are the components, they are present into the abiotic factors. Second type is the biotic factors. Biotic factors, it includes the living organisms of the environment. Living organisms generally present in the environment, for example, plants, animals, bacteria, viruses, etc. These are the examples of the biotic factors. The biotic factors of the ecosystem, they are classified into three types. The first is the producers, second is the consumers, and the third point is the decomposers or the reducers. Another word is the reducer. The first point is the producers. What is the meaning of the producers? Producers means the organisms which carry out photosynthesis constitute the produces an ecosystem. For example, plants, algae, bacteria, etc. The producers generally they are depends upon the abiotic factors of the ecosystem. Generally, producers they are depends on them. For the producer, they have produced the energy. They contain the chlorophyll. Chlorophyll means generally they have also used the synthesis of the food. Utilization of the abiotic factors. Abiotic factors like that the light, air, water, minerals. These are the abiotic factors. They produce the energy. And these processes, which is commonly called as the photosynthesis. Generally, in the producers, it is used as the inorganic substances. Inorganic substances generally they have also used in the abiotic factors. The inorganic substances they are converted into the organic food materials. The portions of these food materials they are synthesized and used to produce producers for their growth, for their survival, and remaining food they are stored for the futures. So this is the first point is the producers. Second point is the consumers. These are the consumers. In the consumers, generally they are again divided into the three types: primary consumers, secondary consumers, and the tertiary consumers. Consumers means generally, what is the meaning of the consumers? Consumers mean the organisms which eat to the other organisms. All animals, they are consumers. Generally, consumers, they are divided into two or more types: the primary consumers, secondary consumers, and the tertiary consumers. Consumers generally they are divided into the three types: primary consumers, secondary consumers, and the tertiary consumers. The first point is the primary consumers. Primary consumers means they eat the producers like the plants, algae, bacteria. The primary consumers, which is commonly called as, which are also called as herbivores. Herbivores, for example, rabbit, deer, cow, goat, etc., are the primary consumers of a terrestrial ecosystem. Second is the secondary consumers. Secondary consumers means they kill and eat the herbivores. They are also called as the carnivores. As these carnivores, they are directly depends upon the herbivores. They are commonly called as primary carnivores. For example, the fox, wolf, etc. These are the secondary consumers in a terrestrial ecosystem. And the third point is the tertiary ecosystem. Tertiary ecosystem means in the tertiary ecosystem, they kill and eat the secondary consumers. They are also called as the secondary carnivores. For example, lion, tiger, etc. These are the tertiary consumers. Generally, they kill and eat the secondary carnivores. These are the three types. Generally, they are present in the consumers: primary consumers, secondary consumers, and the tertiary consumers. Primary consumers, it is commonly called as the only herbivores are present. Secondary consumers, primary carnivores generally they are present, and tertiary consumers, secondary carnivores are present. Third point is the decomposers or the reducers. Decomposers means the decomposers generally they organisms they are break up the dead bodies of the plants and the waste products. They have include that the fungi, certain bacteria. These bacteria and the fungi they secrete the enzymes, and these enzymes they are digested to the dead organisms, and the debris they are formed into the smaller bits or the molecules are formed. These molecules generally they are absorbed by the reducers. After taking the energy, the reducers they have releases the molecules to the environment. As chemical generally they have also used again the producers. So these are the basic things they have explained into the ecosystem or the structure of the ecosystem. Do you understand this point? Ecosystem, the structure of the ecosystem. Primary ecosystem generally they are divided into two types: abiotic factors and the biotic factors. Abiotic factors means the non-living factors are present. Biotic factors means the living factors are present. And these biotic factors they are again divided into the three types: producers, consumers, and the decomposers. Consumers, generally they are again divided into the three types: the primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. This is the structure of an ecosystem. Next point is in this topic, the lake ecosystem. In the freshwater ecosystem, the first point is the lake ecosystem. In the lake, it is a freshwater body or the standing water bodies, or it is commonly called the landing water bodies, or it is an aquatic ecosystem, or it is a freshwater ecosystem. In this ecosystem, there has no connection with the sea. In this lake ecosystem, there are different types of ecosystem. In the types of ecosystem, they are divided into three types. The first type is the oligotrophic lake. Second is the eutrophic lake, and dystrophic lake. First type is the oligotrophic lake. Oligotrophic lake. Second point is the eutrophic lake. Eutrophic lake. And third lake is the dystrophic lake. Dystrophic lake. These are the types of the lakes. In these types of the lakes, the first type is the oligotrophic lakes. In the oligotrophic lakes, it is a young lake. In this lake, the depth of the lake, it is great. The water, it is transparent. Water generally present in the transparent in form. In this lake, poor organic materials are present. Low electrolyte content are present. Low pH is present. Poor in N2, phosphorus and calcium. In the oligotrophic lake, oxygen content is abundant, and the low fertility and low nutrients are present. The poor fauna and flora are present. Flora means plant, fauna means animals are present in the oligotrophic lake. This is the characteristic features of the oligotrophic lakes. Next type is the eutrophic lakes. Eutrophic lakes, there are different features are present. First feature, it is a shallow water. They have rich in phosphorus and electrolyte contents. Organic material generally they are rich in phosphorus. Low electrolyte contents are present. High fertility are present. They are rich in flora and fauna, and they have rich in planktons. Planktons means plant-like materials. They are present into the eutrophic lakes. Third type is the dystrophic lakes. Dystrophic lakes, generally, it is a lake. Depth of the lake, it is shallow. Second characteristic features, they are rich in humus. Humus content generally rich in amount. High concentration of the humic acids and the rich content of the phosphorus, nitrogen and calcium. They have poor electrolyte content. Oxygen content, it is very low, or sometimes it is absent. They are poor fauna and flora. Generally, fauna includes the insects, larvae, or the deep water animals. They are present into the dystrophic lakes. These are the three types of the lakes. The first type is the oligotrophic lake, second is the eutrophic lake, and the third is the dystrophic lake. Next point is the lake flora. Lake flora means they are divided into the four types. The first point is the phytoplankton. First point is the phytoplankton. In the phytoplankton, for example, Euglena. This is the examples of the phytoplankton. Volvox, Navicula. These are the examples of the Chlamydomonas, Ceratia. These are the examples of the phytoplankton. Second, lake flora, floating plants. Floating plants. Generally, these are plants which is present into the surface of the water, which is commonly called as the floating plants. For example, Pistia, Lemna, Ecornia, Wolfia. These are the examples of the floating plants. Third is the submerged plants. Submerged plants, for example, Utricularia, Hydra, Cara, and Vallisneria. These are the examples of the submerged plants. And the fourth is the rooted plants. In the rooted plants, for example, Typha, for example, Marcellia, Nymphia, and Nelumbo. These are the rooted plants. Generally, in the lake flora, phytoplanktons are present. Phytoplanktons, generally, for example, Euglena, Volvox, Navicula, Ceratia, Chlamydomonas, etc. Floating plants. Floating plants means generally these are plants which is present into the surface of the water. They float into the surface of the water. For example, Pistia, Lemna, Ecornia, Wolfia. These are the examples of the floating plants. Submerged plants, for example, Utricularia, Hydrilla, Cara, and the Vallisneria. These are the examples of the submerged plants. And the fourth type is the rooted plants. Rooted plants, for example, Typha, Marcellia, Nymphia, and the Nelumbo. These are the examples of the rooted plants. The next point is the pond fauna. In the lakes, they have constitute the consumers of the lake ecosystem, and they are divided into 5 groups in the pond fauna. In the pond fauna, 5 groups are present. The first group is the pond fauna benthos. First is the benthos. Benthos means, what is the meaning of the benthos? Generally, organisms living on the bottom are called as the benthos. For example, phyla, planornis, earthworm, turtles, etc. And the second is the periphyton. Third pond fauna, periphyton. Periphytons, examples. So the periphytons means the organisms attached or clinging to the water plants are called as the periphyton. Periphyton, for examples, Vorticella. For example, Vorticella, Planaria. These are the examples of the periphyton. snake. Examples of the periphyton. What we say the planaria and the snake. These are the examples of the periphyton. For example, they have included under the beach. These are the examples of the periphyton. Third type is the planktons. Generally, in the planktons, there are two types are present. Plankton. First is the phytoplankton, and the second point is the zooplankton. Phytoplankton means generally these are the plant-like plankton. They contain the producers. For example, the Navicula, Volvox, Euglena, etc. These are the examples of the phytoplankton. Zooplankton means which is commonly called as the animal planktons. Animal planktons, for example, the Daphnia, Cyclops, Rotifers, etc. These are the examples of the zooplankton. In the plankton, they are divided into the two types, phytoplankton and the zooplankton. Fourth point is the nectons. Fourth is the nectons. What is the meaning of the nectons? Nectons generally it is commonly called as the swimmers. The animal generally they are swimming into the lake bodies, in the water bodies. In the nectons, so many animals are present. First is the protozoans animals, amoeba and the paramosia. Do you know the amoeba? It is a unicellular and microscopic animals. It is not seen into the naked eyes. And these amoeba and paramosia, they have included under the phylum Protozoa. Second phylum is the Coelenterata. In the Coelenterata, the hydra generally they are present. Hydra, it is found into the freshwater animals. Next is the Platyhelminthes. Platy means flat, helminthes means a worm. Body is also ventrally flattened. Platyhelminthes. The one animal that is, for example, planaria. Next, pond fauna, rotifers. For example, rotifers, the brachiosaurus. These are the examples of the arthropods, rotifers. Next phylum is the annelids. Do you know the annelids? Generally, body is elongated, worm-like, body is metamerically segmented. Animals generally present. Annelids, for example, Limicola and the leech. These animals they have included under the phylum Annelida. Next phylum is the arthropods. Arthros means jointed, poda means legs. In the arthropod animals, for example, Daphnia, Cyclops, copypods like the nymphs, dragonflies, mayflies, caddisflies, etc. And the insects, class insecta. In the insects, generally like the Nepha, for example, Notonecta, Belostoma and the Ranetra. These are the examples of the insects. And the next phylum is the phylum Mollusca. In the pond fauna, Mollusca. Mollusca means a soft-bodied animal. Generally, body is divided into four parts. The first part is the head, mantle, foot, and the visceral parts. In the molluscous animals, the shell is the internal or shell is the external. In some animals, shell is external. In some animals, shell is the internal. In the molluscous animals, in the freshwater animals like that, Limnia, Planorbis, Phyla, etc. And the next class is the fishes. Fishes, for example, Catla, Tilapia, Larius, Acobranchus, Ophiucephalus, etc. In amphibia, class amphibia, for example, frog. Frog is the amphibious in nature, tadpoles, etc. These are the examples of the amphibia. Next is the reptiles. Reptiles, that is the matrix and the turtles. They have included under the class reptiles. And the birds, generally birds, pond herons, cattle herons, water ducks, etc. All these animals generally they are included under the nectar. It is a swimmer animals and various phylums or the class they have included under the nectar. And the fifth type is the neustons. Fifth is the neuston found in the lake of fauna neustons. In the neustons, what is the meaning of the neustons? The organism surviving in the air-water interface. They include the floating plants and animals. For example, Wulfia, for example, Pistia, Ecornia, etc. These are the floating plants. They have float into the surface of the water. And in the neustons, there are two types are present. Again, it divides into the two types. The epineuston and the hyponeuston. Neustons generally they are divided into two types, epineuston and the hyponeuston. These are the two types are divided into the neustons. The neustons are of the two types, the epineuston or the hyponeuston. Epineuston, these animals generally they are surviving on the top of the water. So air-water interference. For example, water slides. Of the air-water
Yes, and they have obtained much of their food from the water. For example, diving beetles. This is the examples. And the second examples, the water spiders. These are the two examples generally they have included under the hyponeuston. Generally, in the lake ecosystem, the biotic factors and the abiotic factors are present. In the lake ecosystem, in the diagrammatically sketch,
Hello, ma'am.
this is the decomposers. Diagrammatically sketch diagram. Do you know the diagrams? Consumers and the producers. In the diagrammatically sketch in blackboard, they have seen the blackboard diagrams. In the lake ecosystem, these are the three types are present. The first is the producers, consumers and the decomposers. This is the pond lake, and in that lake, this is the consumers. This is the decomposer generally present into the bottom of the lake, and the producers generally present into the upper top regions of the lake, and the consumer generally present into the middle part of the lake. And these in this lake, the flora and the fauna are present in the pond in a ecosystem, lake ecosystem. Generally, lake ecosystem and pond ecosystem, it is a similar. All these things generally they are present into the lake ecosystem. So in this topic, they have the various points. The first point is the definition of the ecosystem. Second point is the structure of the ecosystem. In the structure of ecosystem, abiotic factors and the biotic factors are present. What is the difference between the abiotic factors and the biotic factors? Third point is the biotic factors, which are divided into the three types. Producers. What is the meaning of the producers? Consumers and the decomposers. And consumer generally they are again divided into the primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumers. Primary consumers, only the herbivores are present. Secondary consumers, primary carnivores are present. And the tertiary consumers, secondary carnivores are present. This is the structure of an ecosystem. And the next point is the lake ecosystem. In the lake ecosystem, generally in the freshwater bodies, there are different types of lakes are present. There are three types of the lakes are present. First type is the oligotrophic lake, second is the dystrophic lake, and the third is the eutrophic lakes. And in this lake ecosystem, it is formed by the abiotic factor and biotic factors are present. Abiotic factors of the lake ecosystem are water, CO2, oxygen, inorganic, organic components are present, light, temperature, pressure, pH, etc. And the biotic factors, these biotic factors which is present into the lake ecosystem are the plants and animals. They are the producers, consumers, and the decomposers are present. This is the lake ecosystem. In the lake ecosystem, the where lake flora are present. Lake flora mean that is the phytoplankton. There are four types are present. First is the phytoplankton, second is the floating plants, third point is the submerged plants, fourth is the rooted plants. And the pond fauna, they are divided into 5 groups. First group is the benthos, second is the periphyton, third is the plankton, fourth is the nekton, and the fifth is the neustons. In the neustons, there are 2 types are present, epineuston and the hyponeuston. And the plankton, which are divided into the 2 types, phytoplankton and the zooplankton. Phytoplankton means it is a plant-like materials, and the zooplanktons means animal-like. These points generally they are included under this topic. Do you understanding these points? Yes or no? तुम्हाला हे समजलेलं आहे का? हॅलो हॅलो
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
माझं नाव आहे
Yes, ma'am.
डॉक्टर भोयटे एसे. काय भोयटे एसे, professor, head of the department of the zoology, and in the 12th paper, aquatic biology, unit 1st, aquatic biomes. In this topic, the first point is the freshwater ecosystem. In the freshwater ecosystem, the first point is the what is the definition of the ecosystem. Second is the structure of the ecosystem. Next point is the स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ इकोसिस्टीम मध्ये 2 प्रकार असतात, बायोटिक फॅक्टर्स आणि अबायोटिक फॅक्टर्स. मग बायोटिक फॅक्टर्स म्हणजे काय, त्याला आपण काय म्हणतो, लिव्हिंग कंपोनेंट्स, अँड अबायोटिक फॅक्टर्स मीन्स नॉन लिव्हिंग कंपोनेंट्स. मग या बायोटिक फॅक्टर्स मध्ये परत काय होतात, 3 टाइप्स पडतात, प्रोड्युसर्स, कंझ्युमर्स आणि डिकम्पोजर्स. हे तिन्ही कंझ्युमर्स म्हणजे जे आहे ते लेक मध्ये असतात, म्हणजे फ्लोरा पण असतो त्याच्यामध्ये आणि फाउना पण त्याच्यामध्ये असतो. तर हे जे बेसिक थिंग्स आहेत, ह्या बेसिक थिंग्स आपल्याला समजल्या पाहिजे, तरच आपल्याला पुढचं समजणार. व्हॉट इज द मिनिंग ऑफ द प्रोड्युसर्स, व्हॉट इज द मिनिंग ऑफ द कंझ्युमर्स, अँड व्हॉट इज द मिनिंग ऑफ द डिकम्पोजर्स. ह्या ज्या आणि त्याचे एक्झाम्पल्स आपल्याला, म्हणजे ही फूड चेन आहे, एकमेकावरती एक काय असतात, अॅनिमल्स असतात काय, एक टू इट द अदर ऑर्गॅनिझम किंवा अदर ॲनिमल्स. आता नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज द लेक इकोसिस्टीम. त्याच्यामधला पहिला पॉइंट मी घेतलेला आहे लेक इकोसिस्टीम. आता लेक इकोसिस्टीम मध्ये इट इज अ स्टँडिंग वॉटर बॉडीज किंवा अक्वॅटिक इकोसिस्टीम आहे ही एक. नेक्स्ट इज द लेंटिक इकोसिस्टीम आहे. आणि या इकोसिस्टीम मध्ये तुम्हाला वेगवेगळ्या टाईपचे लेक्स असतात. त्याच्यामधला फर्स्ट टाईप ऑफ द ऑलिगोट्रॉपिक लेक, यूट्रॉफिक लेक आणि डिस्ट्रॉफिक लेक. आणि इन दिस टाईप ऑफ द लेक्स दी pond, lake fauna and lake flora generally present. So these are the points generally they have included. Only one points they have mentioned in this lecture. The lake topic generally they have completed. Understanding this point? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
आता याच्यामध्ये एखाद्याला मी टेस्ट घेईन काय डेफिनेशन ऑफ द इकोसिस्टीम म्हणजे काय, टाइप्स ऑफ द इकोसिस्टीम किंवा स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द इकोसिस्टीम, काय प्रोड्युसरचे काय एक्झाम्पल्स आहेत, पॉन्ड फाउना, झू प्लॅन्क्टॉन, मिनिंग ऑफ द झू प्लॅन्क्टॉन, मिनिंग ऑफ द फायटोप्लॅन्क्टॉन, what is the meaning of the newstons, what is the meaning of the benthos, all these things generally they have explained and their example generally they have mentioned. तर ओके, थँक यू.
हॅलो मॅम.
हॅलो. इफ यू एनी डिफिकल्टी प्लीज आस्क मी.
आम्हाला नोट्सचा पीडीएफ मिळेल का, किंवा आता लेक्चर झालेलं काय ते नोट्स कसे मिळणार आम्हाला?
मी नोट्स काढलेले आहेत. त्या नोट्स तुम्हाला मी काय करेन डाउनलोड करून घेईन मी त्या ह्याच्यावरती आणि तुम्हाला देईन मी. काय तुमचा ग्रुप केलाय की नाही व्हॉट्सअप वरती टाकतात का, कसे करतात बाकीचे टीचर?
हो,
पीडीएफ देतात.
काय पीडीएफ का? बर, मग मी पीडीएफ मध्ये तुम्हाला देईन मग ह्या नोट्स. काय आता पहिलाच पॉइंट फक्त संपलेला आहे, लेक फक्त सांगितलेलं आहे. फ्रेश वॉटर इकोसिस्टीम मधला एक पॉइंट संपलेला आहे. ह्याच्यामध्ये लेक नंतर स्ट्रीम्स आहे, स्ट्रीम्स नंतर रिव्हर्स आहे, रिव्हर्स नंतर मग वेटलँड आहे. हे 4 पॉइंट्स आहेत. असे मिळून मग काय होणार आहे फ्रेश इकोसिस्टीम, फ्रेश वॉटर इकोसिस्टीम. काय तर हे 4 पॉइंट सगळे संपल्यानंतर मग तुम्हाला नोट देते मी. अलग लक्षात?
येस मॅम.
असं. थँक्यू.
थँक्यू मॅम.
थँक्यू. बंद करू का ग?
हो मॅम, चालेल.